on this computer. Okay, now
Okay, so I just want to welcome everybody to the Love Circle. The Love Circle was a combination of a couple of ideas. Basically, my name is Dr. Carmen Smith, and I'm a spiritual teacher, a mental health therapist, and minister of compassion, I always say. Um, I have been teaching about love and fear, which are the two energies that are here on this planet, for many years. And so I've been all over teaching about it in Unity Churches, Center for Spiritual Living, and wrote a book called The I Am Solution: Spiritual Practices for Transforming Fear Back to Love. And in this time that we're living in, I was speaking about these times that we're living in and what's to come for the past 3 to 4 years. And I really enjoy doing that, but I kept feeling like I was repeating myself and no one was listening. But now I feel like what is so important is not that the masses know what I'm talking about, but I really got a clear sense that my family needed to come to an understanding of some of the key things going forward that we need, not only for our emotional survival, our mental survival, but also our physical survival. Because we're moving into some times that are unprecedented. We're moving into some times that are life changing. And the structures that we're used to may not withstand this major change that we're going through. And so, how do you navigate that? And just to give an example, our spiritual life really depends on who we believe that we are, not based on what the matrix or the structure tells you that you are. So if you grew up in the school system and you grew up in the United States and you're told certain things that you're supposed to believe in, including what the color of your skin means or anything like that, you're going to be challenged at this time because you need to come up higher and who and what you know yourself to be. In other words, you need to transition into being more of the savior that you're looking somebody else to save you. You need to have that savior mentality. You need to have that identity within yourself. So you need to have a greater identity within yourself so that you're not dependent on somebody telling you what to do or telling you what's real or what's not real. You need to depend on your intuition and your discernment. And that only comes when you transcend this matrix, this structure that we've been living in. So I developed the Love Circle with the help of my family to get the word out that if we've been thinking of ourselves as smaller, we need to enlarge that identity because the structure is coming down. And if we have attached ourselves and are dependent on this structure, we will come down with it. That's as simple as that. I say it with a smile because I'm not attached to the matrix. I'm attached to something bigger than that. And that is how we come through and thrive in chaos when you're not connected to the chaos. So with that, that's why I started the Love Circle. That is why we've come together as a family. And it's totally voluntary because a lot of the things we talk about, we go deep. And if that is weird, uncomfortable, or whatnot, then your consciousness is not going to want to participate in it. That's fine. It's free will. But the information is there. So I want to open it up to comments and questions. Like, Are there particular things that we've been talking about that maybe have helped you in this time, or you have remembered that it's true in this time? Even comments that you think people could really benefit from, or questions. So I'll open it up to the family for any of that and what you think would be pertinent to discuss.
Everyone at once. Everyone's still muted.
What'd you say, Lauren?
I said everyone at once. Let's see. Um, I think during this time that it's a lot of division and stuff like that going on, whether political or social and things like that, and it's very hard to look at that with a positive outlook for, especially for my generation and other people. There's a lot of doom and gloom out there. So I think it's good to have a bit of a support group that tries to remember or talk about good stuff that's going on, to try and make it seem like it's not just the end of the world going on. And I think that's a good part of the love circle. And just to kind of help you with that, especially like I said, my generation, where you're kind of getting into your adulthood, and kind of the world kind of collapses. So it's helpful to not just have maybe something on Facebook that's like a little tidbit of happiness, but have a little circle that is there to uplift you and remind you that the whole world isn't doom and gloom.
Yeah, I agree. So you need to have some type of circle or community, or have whatever, people of friends that are of like mind, that are love warriors. Love warriors are people that in the midst of chaos, they choose love over fear. And the only way that you can do that is if you've gone into the depths of your own heart and seen what's there. And sometimes it's a horror show when you go within, because you see your own manipulation. You see your own lies that you tell people and yourself. You see your own shadow, as they call it. And once you do that and you embrace it and love that part of you that created that in order to survive, or whatever you did to do that, and you embrace that, you can look at the world with less fear, because you've already conquered everything that you're afraid of. Fear of hurt, fear of not being good enough. Once you conquer that, you can look out into the world and it is not scary. You see why people are the way they are. You have deep understanding, and when you have deep understanding, you have compassion. The same compassion you show yourself, you show to those around you. So that's what a love warrior is, and we're in really good company. We have John Lewis, who loved people, disagreed with ideas, but loved people. Martin Luther King did the same, talking about the only thing to stamp out darkness is to show light on it. That love is the only thing that can conquer hate. Warriors, they were being attacked, but chose not to attack back, chose love over fear. And so this takes, of course, courage, but love warriors are the only thing that can change this world into a better place. There's no chaos. Because as soon as you put chaos on top of chaos, well, in my recipe book, that's bigger chaos. So all of this stuff, perfect sense to me. But so just coming in, that, like Lauren said, they see the world falling apart, and it stirs something in them to the same type of chaos that's the world up fear. So we would like other people to practice what we're talking about, because once again, being a love warrior, this does practice. And maybe I can get into a little bit of why it takes practice, but before I did anybody else have any add on to what Lauren said, or have any other things about how this helped you? This group?
This group has helped me to know the importance of being intentional in your thoughts, your actions, because as you have shared with us, the world is chaos and people love chaos. And so when we hear bad news, when we hear sensational things on the news, the tendency I know for me before was to just spread that to someone else, share that, because I was so shocked by it. And I wanted to share that with someone else. But I've learned that you have to think of, why are you sharing that? What is the purpose? Is that going to do something positive for the person or not? Just spread, or is it just going to spread the chaos? So I've learned to be more intentional about everything I say and do. And that's something that's now on my mind as I live each day. So that has been helpful.
That's awesome. Anybody else?
I'll share the power of gratitude, which is one of the practices of the love warrior as well. And that is simply to be grateful for not only the things that you can see, but the things that you cannot. To be grateful for the coming of things that you may want, need, and also grateful for, I remember our aunt said she had gratefulness triggers, things that triggered her gratefulness. And I've since discovered that I have those as well. And it can be something as simple as, seeing someone less fortunate and being grateful for what I have. And it can also be, a lot of times it's just looking at my son and being so grateful for him. And always grateful for family and community.
That's awesome. Yeah. So Stacy, you talked about intentions, and intention before you send something. I think this is very key, because you're right. We're addicted to chaos. We're addicted to negativity. And so we're addicted to things that are scary. And so when you see posts, or you can, and you want to share something and you want to send it to somebody else, what you're basically sending is, this is so scary. And this really triggered me to anger. So I want you to have a bit of that too. It's almost like saying, this milk is sour, taste it. It's like, if it's sour, throw it out. Don't spread it around. And when you think of it that way, it's information, it's words, it's what we say. If you keep spreading it around, then you are a super spreader of fear. And what we're trying to do is, as love warriors, is diminish the fear, raise the vibration of love. Because the vibration of fear is very slow and a lower frequency vibration. It leads to violence, it leads to all kinds of stuff. And so what we want to do is raise the vibration with everything that we do. So I intend to raise the vibration on this. So let me send this good news information. Oh, when I heard this story and I saw this video, it just was like, oh, that's such a big thing to do. I want to send that to Kelly. You know, I want to send that to more people. I'm going to post that on the trauma that I am a moderator of, to give people hope. Because when you are in that lower frequency, guess what you're addicted to? You're addicted to fear. You're addicted to violence. Oh my gosh, this is so horrible. You're addicted to that, and you do spread it around because what do they say? Misery loves company. So, you know, you want to share that and talk about how horrible that is. And what have you done? You raised you have sunk that frequency where you could have raised it. That's how powerful we are. We have the power to raise the frequency of this planet, not just ourselves, but the planet as well. Our intentions are very important, and this is a key love warrior element. What is my intention for saying that? What is my intention to sending that to her? What is my intention for doing this? All of that should be part of your daily practice. Now, gratitude. You know, Kelly had mentioned, you know, the gratitude, and we talked about the 4 strands of gratitude, which is also prayer. So gratitude is a way that you can increase your frequency very quickly. Because first of all, the first strand is grateful for what you can see. And everybody does that. They go, oh, I'm grateful for that turkey for Thanksgiving. I'm grateful for the chair I'm sitting in because you can see that. That's one level. That's the first level. But when you go to the second level, which is finding things to be grateful for, and like Kelly said, having grateful triggers, that's excellent. Finding things, like you're out and about walking and you find something. Oh my gosh, look at that. That is so great. Look at that over there. People look. They weren't even looking over there. No, what are you seeing? You see how that cloud goes over that thing? They go, oh, okay, yeah, I see that. Because you're looking. And you have a practice where you just see stuff other people don't see. You're just like, oh my gosh, look at that sunset. And I remember I was leaving work one day and I stepped out of the front door and I saw this amazing sunset. Palm trees were aligned, the clouds, the sun, there were so many colors in the sky. It was purple and fuchsia and orange. I just stood there looking. I was like, and then people were coming out of the door. I said, look at that sunset. They rushed to their car. They rush over here. Yeah, they probably had to pick up their kids, but it takes 2 minutes, 2 seconds to say, oh my God, that is incredible. Most people don't do that. But when you're aligned, you start seeing your creation. What do I mean by your creation? Remember when I said that your identity becomes bigger than you? You start going, oh my God, look at that. Look at what I did. Well, what are you saying? Why do you say I? People say, oh, I'm a child of God. You're made in the image and likeness of God. Who makes sunsets? God does. I'm not apart from God. God is a part of me. We are symbiotic. So I'm at that sunset, I'm looking at that flower, I'm looking at the Grand Canyon, and I'm saying, wow, how great am I? Oh, baby! Most people don't think like that, do they? They're in that lower frequency of I'm this, I'm that, I'm not good enough, and then the chaos comes and they're like, oh my God, I'm above all that, looking at it, going, y'all need to come up here. I'm not going down there. And it starts with who you are. What's your identity? So when you're in gratitude, you are appreciative of who you are. Oh, I just had to stop. I'll let you digest that. Second one is like for stuff. The third row of gratitude is you look to your past and you just are grateful. So grateful for everything in that past because it was building me up to know who I am. And was building me up to love so much about every aspect of life. Every aspect of life? Well, there's this didn't go my way, but it worked out great. This person this way so I can learn how to forgive. This person that way so that no chaos can be against me. Now at the time I didn't know that. But as I began to know more about who I am, I began to see it more clearly. Oh, that my life to teach me this, teach me about racism, to teach me about programming, all of this stuff that I talk about today. I couldn't talk about it if those people weren't in my life teaching me that kind of stuff. The fourth strand of gratitude is being grateful for what you can't see yet. It's not here yet, but I know it's coming and I'm so excited. I know that the structure is coming down. Does that make me sad? Does that make me worried? Well, I know there's going to be suffering, so I have great compassion for suffering, but I know that after it comes down, building up will be fabulous. So you're grateful. I'm grateful for the building of what is to come. I'm so grateful for what that is now. And when I am in that fourth stage and I have done all of the other three stages, that is prayer, affirmative prayer. I am grateful for the structure to come. I am grateful for the system that will replace this one. When I get that energy of excitement and I put it on something that has not showed up yet, that is affirmative prayer. And then it manifests based on the energy you've generated from the four strands of gratitude. So thank you for that. That was the gratitude, intentions, all of that kind of thing. And if you look at it like a power cord, that is you being plugged into the universe. You have more power when you have your intentions set, you have your gratitude in place that you're doing all the time, and then you manifest. So that's the secret of the universe, because then you're aligned with love, abundance, and I'm talking financial abundance, I'm talking about abundance of love, I'm talking about all kinds of abundance when I'm talking about abundance. Floods into that power center. Things that and always talk about is and can't be explained on a logical level, because sometimes I'll say that makes God sense, but it doesn't make logical sense. Is that, well, don't I always say this, Lauren? I say in my own life, so you have to look at your own life. In my own life, my life doesn't make sense, logical sense. But it does make God sense. And the reason I say that is because if I want something and it manifests from that God universe and you try to explain it with your logical mind, it makes sense. Lauren, do you want to add anything? Because you were talking about something like that the other day.
No, because I was talking about how like a lot of things I try and solve logically, so I'm probably not the best person to elaborate on that. But I understand what you're talking about. You talk about that all the time, but yeah, I'm a much logical person. Try and solve things logically first before getting to the God sense stuff. So yeah.
Can you, because sometimes I put it in woo-woo terms, can you break it down a little bit more?
I don't know. I think that was actually pretty good. I don't really actually have like a thing for that. That's exactly how I would put it. So I don't
Hmm.
yeah.
Is there anything in you all's life where you feel like it doesn't make logical sense, but it makes God sense? Because it helps if you have an experience, not somebody else's experience, but your own experience.
Well, I would say feeling abundant. I would say feeling abundant and being able to not really have a job for how long has it been? Maybe around off and on, very rarely, but for 10 years. But I still have abundance in my financial arena. It doesn't seem to be getting to a, any kind of threatening level. I am able to do whatever I want to do, go wherever I want to go. I have that kind of freedom. I have investments, I have this and that. However, because I feel like I'm living, knowing, or at least reminding myself who I am and what I can have in this world. Yeah, that doesn't make any kind of logical sense, but it makes God sense. And I know that this period of time is beneficial for me because, and it's just what was supposed to happen, because during this period of time I've been unlearning a lot of fear-based habits, unlearning fear-based reactions to people and situations, and unlearning so I've been able to focus more on being more aligned with a higher vibration. So this time of not working was necessary for me, and it was afforded to me by being very abundant and finances not dwindling.
That was awesome. Anybody wanting to comment on that, on what Kim said? Because you are an example, a living example of what we're talking about when we're saying that it doesn't make logical sense. It makes God sense. And you try to explain that to somebody that has a logical mind and very little spiritual experiences, and they would have a hard time trying to figure that out. Like, well, what did you do? What did you do? You go, well, really, I aligned with the creator that has everything, all money, all assets, everything. I aligned with that. And then they go, well, wait a minute, what did you do? People are always trying to figure me out. And I'm like, no, it's God. No, 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 but what did you need to write a book on fight? Yeah, I did. It's called the I Am Solution. You get rid of your fear and you're left with love. You align with that, and then you manifest using what I said, the four strand gratitude, which most people won't take the time to do. They'll try to figure out how to do it with the stock market.
Yeah, I was just going to add something that, well, one of my mantras is, or, something that I say is, money comes to me all the time, easily and effortlessly in expected and unexpected ways.
Mhm.
And as I was going through some papers, I've been, like doing all kinds of purging and stuff like that. And I found a check for $850 and another check for $1,545 that I didn't know was there. They came to me I was like, oh, okay, thank you, God. Yes, this and something, and more. Thank you. I appreciate all of it.
That's right.
Yeah.
So there are people that are suffering now that are maybe might watch this video. Lauren and I did a video back in February or April talking about, switching your channel to this love vibration, this compassion vibration, and this abundance vibration, even if you're going through a difficult time financially, and raising your vibration. And people have a hard time with that because they think that it's supposed to come through worry. If I worry about it, then maybe I'll get something. Maybe something will come up.
Or even a lot of times people say, well, you got to grind it out. You got to really work it out. And you got to, all of this about, really work it hard. And that is not necessarily what happens. What happens is that when you are aligned with that, then all of this starts coming to you.
That's right. And yes, absolutely, Kim. I didn't mean to interrupt, but it was just going to be me saying amen. We're in church. But yes, amen. But if you do not have these experiences, I'm just saying, if you have a logical mind, what we're saying is jibber jabber.
Yeah.
Because it has to happen in your experience for you to know that this is actually how the universe works. And that's why I said to my family, I said, does anybody else know about this? Because this is crazy. Crazy good. I'm so glad that I have my son because he sees it firsthand. This stuff doesn't make sense, y'all. This does not make sense. Okay, I'm just saying, but it makes God sense. Not logical sense, God sense. Excellent example. I met one of Kim's friends that lives in New York City, and I haven't seen him in 2 years. But one morning, remember we talked about the altar. Although I don't have his picture on my altar, usually the people that are on my altar I think about throughout the day. But this person, his picture is not on my altar. But this one particular morning, I heard clearly to send him some money. Haven't talked to him in 2 years. So I sent it through the phone, and I think it was probably about 20 minutes later he called me. And he was tearful, and I was laughing. And so he said, do you know that yesterday and all this week, I was saying, God, are you going to have me go down like this? I can't pay my bill. Are you going to have me, you see that victim? Can you feel that energy that I'm talking through right here? Are you going to have me go out like this? I can't, even saying it, I feel hunched over and victimized. He said, but this morning was the first time that I stood in power and said, I will have abundance. I will have this. I will claim it and name it. Abundance right now. And you know what I told him? I said, I heard you.
Yeah.
Am I right, Kim?
Yep. 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 Hmm. Yeah.
So what I wanted him to understand is, you're not a victim here. Do you know who you are? You come from a place of who you are, of strength, of power. The universe is in here, baby. And when you come from that and you affirm your birthright, which is all up in the New Testament, don't get me started. That's prayer. That's prayer. Who hears prayer? All the people that are aligned with that power. That's how powerful you are. Kim, where's the music? Where's the music, Kim? Any comments or questions about that's an actual experience.
Good stuff.
So what has happened now is that he has an experience of what we're talking about. So once you have an experience of this, it doesn't make logical sense. It makes God sense. Once you have an experience of this, then you can't unring that bell. You can't go back. Well, I guess you could. You could always poo-poo it. You could always say, well, it would have happened anyway. If I hear that all the time. But it's really important that people have their own experiences. Not somebody talking at a seminar, talking at a workshop. It's when you actually start doing this and then you have an experience. That's where real change takes place. And so you want to always have those experiences and acknowledge them. Acknowledge, wow, that was God. That was the God in me. That was my vibration doing that. That was crazy good. I know what that was. Oh no, it would have blah, 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 blah. You'll always have that, but that's not your experience. Your experience is to keep that knowing of who you are. It doesn't mean that they're not right, or you don't have to label that. It's just, you got your thing going on. Okay. Any comments or questions about that? So, anybody? I don't want to step over anybody. Kelly, it looked like you were about to say something. You're just smiling.
Well, I guess what I want to say too is that most of us didn't grow up like that. I mean, most of us did not grow up knowing who we are and knowing the power that we have. Yeah, we just didn't. And I'm speaking for myself too. I did not grow up knowing that, and so that's the unlearning that I was speaking about before. Just unlearning the victim mentality, or the not as powerful. And when you are when you daily remind yourself, and it could be like, momentarily, every moment, remind yourself of who you are. I know that I remember that a long time ago, I was given a little piece of paper that had a quote from A Course in Miracles on it, and it said, if you only knew how, no, it said, if you only knew who you were, if you only know who you are. Actually, it said something else, and I'm trying to remember what it, oh, it said the truth of you, the truth about you is so lofty that nothing unworthy of God is worthy of you. And that has kind of like, I always go back to that, that saying, the truth of you is so lofty that nothing unworthy of God is worthy of you. I haven't always acted that way, but I try to daily remind myself about the truth. What is the truth of me?
Mm-hmm.
Love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good stuff.
Mm-hmm. And I remember, sometimes when people hear me talk about God being inside of you, we're so used to having God be up in the clouds that sometimes people, even Jesus, when Jesus talked about it, people called him blasphemous. But even today, in Unity or in Center for Spiritual Living churches, not everybody, but when I've taught there, and I go all the way there to identify myself as symbiotic with God, people gasped. I did a teaching called The Power of Love at Center for Spiritual Living in Las Vegas in, I want to say February or May. And there was a gasp in the audience when I said something like that. And I said, "Oh, that didn't sit well with you." Well, during these times, there's no other identity that you can be other than that. And that's why we're placed in these times. So if you haven't gotten that identity, you better do it quickly, because you're put in a situation where if you have a lower frequency, you're going to succumb to that lower frequency. If you have a higher frequency, you're looking at it because you're in this world, but you're not of that world. I'm not of the chaos.
It's 8 o'clock.
Oh, hi, Kim. Right? So does that make sense? How really, who are you? Everything, as Jay-Z said, everything great comes from who you are. So who are you is really the very largest question you can ask yourself. And it will determine what comes from there. It will determine your intentions. It will determine how you feel about something. It will determine everything. That is the question. Who are you? Um, and then that would be definitely what love warriors are. We're brave enough to say who we are without apology, as they say. I will choose love every time. Okay. So one of the other points that I wanted to point out and is that we want to reach out to people to let them know that there's another alternative. There's another alternative to fear. That alternative is compassion, understanding, abundance, joy, bliss, and all the attributes of God, and there are many. One of those attributes is speaking the truth. And a lot of times people will hear the word love, and love seems weak or apathetic or passive. And love is not weak. As a matter of fact, it is the strongest thing in the world. And we talked about the 72 names of God that we talk about, and we haven't gotten through all 72, but the ones that we have gotten to, speaking the truth, removing hatred. Kelly, what was the other one? Removing hatred, speaking the truth, and there was maybe one other, but one of the main things that I want you to know is that love is powerful, and it is your destiny, and it's the only thing that's going to change this world and survive the chaos, not succumbing to the fear. So welcome to the Love Circle.